How we are doing? Yours truly here. Allodial title, Riparian rights, Goddess, Empress, Queen, Chief of Carib tribe, Amerindian nation, and Moorish empire. Alright? Goddess of all dimensions, rainbow as ordained for my ancestors, as early as Tartaria and even before Taria, and after transforming to Tameri, which is Ternicka, beloved land of Mary and soul, and also American Indian, Americas, Indi-go refers to the Indi-go people, the blue people, the primordial. So it doesn't necessarily speak on being from Africa. Africa is a completely different continent, and we need to understand this. Not every carbon being is African, so do not misclassify us as that, because we have beings in Puerto Rico, right in the Americas, and they are not African. They are also melanated beings. There are beings in Australia, the Aboriginals, and they are not African. Beings on throughout Eurasia as well too, and they are not Africans. So we are the Hindu, and Indi beings, alright, the Nagas, alright. So hence the whole closeness of Kemet, the closeness of Buddha, Buddha, as in the Asiatic combination, as well as the Indi. Alright, so before India, it was also Hindustan. Okay, so that's the closest of us all synchronized as one entity, which we refer to as the Asiatic Amerindians, or the Moorish people. All right. So moving ahead, as I was mentioning, pertaining to the court space and ensuring that the cleanliness is maintained, it is something very much important, because I do not aspire to see a community in which I would reside, or I would have, let's say, people I know as I would refer to as not just friends but family and also relatives, and it turns to a slum. No, I, Highest Imperial Majesty Goddess Shasta Trinity-El, aka Ternicka, Simmons-Solomon, Vincent, Adams, Maha-Bal, will not allow it, because not a single community on the landmass of Allodial is a slum or a ghetto. All of my beautiful communities are paradise hubs. So they are entities in governmental spaces, corporate governments, and their leadership, ethics, who would intentionally neglect communities, hoping that they would turn to ghetto, and turn into a slum. But not on my watch. Not on my watch. We maintain our abundance, we maintain our security, and our liberated justice respectfully. Alright, because we have a wealth of greatness that comes from these spaces. You will not break us down with a scarcity mindset. Alright, so it's to avoid all that, and this first International and Indigenous Court of Justice is very much beneficial. It's not as beneficial for the indigenous peoples, It is also beneficial to other fellow beings or residents here on Allodial who actually seek assistance for circumstances that they that are often they are often sidelined and not assisted in the scope of their legitimate justice and honor. And this is where the court comes in, the Indigenous Court of Justice, that operates in the sovereign jurisdiction. Aside from just tribal law, we utilize the divine law as well as natural law, the common law. Okay, so moving ahead in the conversation towards the whole circumstance with the Essequibo. So they have been where an indigenous tribe, I can't remember the name of the tribe right now, but I actually said much love to them for actually doing that, and they reclaimed in their security this indigenous tribe, Essequibo. All right, so I see people talking about the Essequibo and Venezuela and this and that. It is all on the jurisdiction of tribal law. Guyana as well too is also Carib. All right, so we have had Carib peoples there. My Carib peoples, as in indigenous peoples. Indigenous is the Indi-go, American Indians. We are not Africans. Do not misclassify us. All right. So yes, Americas is Americas, and Africa continent is Africa continent. Once you are African, you are of the African continent and not of the Americas. So indigenous is American Indian. All right. This is where we are indigenous to the Indi-go, the Indian. All right. So this is who we are. So do not misclassify us. Okay. So we protect our indigenous private estates as well as wealth, ancestral wealth identity. So much love to the indigenous tribe who saw it fit to proclaim and declare the Essequibo in their jurisdiction. It is okay. Nothing is wrong with that. Aside from that, we've also had a circumstance where we've all had neighboring people from right in Venezuela who would have, turned to us here in Trinidad and Tobago for a bit of assistance because of the shortcomings that came to their doorstep and their families' homes. Okay, so they've had in their experience of traumas where their currency was not of any value. They weren't able to operate in the workspaces as they would have been comfortably before, and this has been under the whole leadership of a president, all right, a president that is under investigations now by United States members of security, all right. So with this occurring and the depreciation of life for so many years, all right, there has been many instances of human trafficking. There have been many instances of beings losing their families, their children, by how dangerous this operation has been, because they are looking for betterment in whatever way possible. When it comes to survival, you see a way out, you take that way out, whether it's lawful or unlawful, legal or illegal, all right, because it is the only door you see open to set you free in the form of liberation. So I understand, as in that retrospect, when a being would seek to have their liberation by setting themselves free, and this is what beings, innocent beings of Venezuela, have been doing. Not all tied up or being involved in anything illegal or crimes of that sort. They are actually beings of ambitions, who are very much diplomatic themselves. All right, so it's not to shun and talk down on anyone in that retrospect and stuff like that. All right, it is to be less ignorant and gullible to the whole audacity to say that, we are dealing with a neo-colonialist issue as if United States is colonizing Trinidad and Tobago. You even know what neo-colonialism is? All right, and then you're speaking on sovereignty and this and that. What is sovereign? What it is to be sovereign? The sovereignty speaks on the living being controlling their head of state as consciousness. They are the natural government. They govern their mental. No external entity or body has that will to govern their mental. All right, so they are the head of state of consciousness. They are the sovereign governor general of their own consciousness. And this is who we are. This is who I am as an individual, as a sovereign indigenous diplomat. And not until I was mentioning that, for a while now, almost every day, for over a year and beyond, all right, we have beings now mentioning about, they now knowing that is sovereign. They used to chastise it before, now they know sovereign, like it's a label, a worn out label. What is neocolonialism? Who is colonizing us here? When I say as in the United States, who is colonizing us? Yeah, we got a little excited and worried pertaining to the battleship and the submarine and whatever it is might be in a nuclear retrospect and such and such. Alright? It's to ensure that all people are kept safe as well as our resources. We protect our resources. Alright? And in the global retrospect of transformation, original royals of Tartaria to America, this is before the Great Flood. This is before the Great Flood. So this is beyond just illusion of an economical crisis, because many of our resources has been hoarded by gluttonous pirates, gluttonous pretendians, and gluttonous politicians, signing away our resources, and the people they would even sign away you and the country, and they don't even know. Alright, so for the past 10 years we have many things missing. Why are you not challenging that? Why are you not asking the question to find out where has our cash flow gone? I reclaim the pitch deck for us. We need to secure our resources. We are Tartaria. Where else have asphalt as we do and other things in the scope of oil and gas? We need to protect what's ours. And we are in the Pan Americas. This is not Pan Africa, this is Pan Americas. The highways is where we are. So in order to clean up and have our spaces clean, we do it.